Greetings, fellow cooks. Marceline Alberni from Dr. Flavor. Today we're making something really enjoyable. It is a squash soup. Not just a regular squash, this is calabaza. And calabaza is a Caribbean squash that is very meaty, lots of flavor, and fairly simple to cook. And you'll see what I'm talking about. You've already seen what it looks like, the fruit, or actually the vegetable anyway. So this is the calabaza diced with smaller diced potatoes we're going to be using. I put in like 3-4 potatoes. I did some sweet onions, as always. We're using some leftover spiral ham that my wife cooked, and there's one thing that you'll know about me is I love leftovers. There's nothing better than leftovers. We have black pepper, we have salt, we have about a half a stick of butter, crushed garlic, we have fresh thyme, very important, chicken stock, a cooking sherry, half and half, olive oil, and that's the ingredients. So let's get rolling here. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start firing up my induction cooking area. We're going to set it up to a level 8. I've been looking forward for a long time to get a nice cooking top, like an induction cooking top, and I finally got it. So we're going to put in about 1/3 cup of nice, good, extra virgin olive oil. And as you'll notice, this thing is going to start getting hot very quickly. So the next part is going to be putting in the onions, and we're going to start sweating the onions. And in this top, you'll see how quickly that happens. See? So I got it nice and covered with oil. So we're going to cover this up, and we're going to let this cook a little bit longer. Well, as you can see, the onions are coming along just fine. So we're going to go to the next step, and that is we're going to add a little bit of garlic. And as you know, I do like my garlic, so I'm going to put in about 1.5 teaspoons of crushed garlic. So we're going to mix that up really well. At this point, we're going to start adding some of my other ingredients. I'm going to add fresh thyme. Love fresh thyme. Then I'm going to add about 1/3 teaspoon of black pepper. About the same amount of salt I'm not going to go heavy on the salt because, as you know, we're going to be putting in some chicken stock or chicken broth. And you know that it has salt in it, but even though I'm using low or reduced salt chicken broth, there's still some. So remember, always add some, but save the salt for the end, because that's when you really need to actually make that comparison. All right, so now the next step, and that is adding the calabaza. Remember, calabaza it's a great squash to use. You can get this in international markets, Hispanic markets, and even in the Asian markets. They'll still carry it. Use the diced big pieces for the calabaza and the small pieces for the potatoes, because the potatoes are going to take longer to cook. Okay? So make sure you do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stir this up a little bit. So I stirred some of this stuff up, and I'm not going to add the chicken broth yet because I want to get a little bit more fluids out of the stuff that I put in already. But more importantly is what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce now the heat to a level 4 in my induction. And I'm going to cover it up, and we're going to wait about 15 to 20 minutes and see how that cooks down. Okay, so this stuff is now boiling. And it's getting very nice. So you can see the thyme in there. You can see the onions. And at this point, the calabaza, the squash, is starting to break down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in half a stick of butter, going to just simply move it around a little bit. And now I'm going to let this cook another 15 minutes, and we'll see what's going on. Okay, friends, so as we're making this fantastic soup, I call it a stew because I don't like runny, thin anything. I like a nice thick soup or stew. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about this, this is a perfectly good vegan meal, and you're gonna actually realize that meat actually makes it a little bit better, a little bit more flavorful, but this is perfectly good for vegans, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so another 15 minutes passed, and at this point you can see it's getting nice and thick, creamy. The calabaza is starting to break down. The more you stir it, the more it breaks down. So the potatoes are done. All right, so at this point, what I want to do is I want to see what kind of flavor we have with the sauce. I timed it just right. The salt is on point. I wouldn't want to change anything there. So what I want to do is I want to work on the creaminess. I'm going to add a little half and half. Heavy cream would be good too. I put a half a cup in there. And then, in addition to that, since we're getting towards the end of the line here, I'm going to add a little bit of cooking sherry. My, oh my. So, that is what I would call definitely the finishing touch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial it down. I did dial it down from level 6 to level 4 because it's starting to bubble too much. So I'm going to bring it down to a level 3. I'm going to cover it up and I'll leave it there for another 15 minutes. And I think we're going to be done at that point. Okay, so let's see what we have here. It's getting nice, but as you can see, I really like a better, thicker consistency, so I was ready. A tablespoon and a half of cornstarch and half a cup of water. So we're going to stir this up. And you can see that right away you start getting a little bit of a thicker consistency. Very nice. Very nice. That's what I like. A stewy soup, if there is such a thing. Okay, so everybody's in the pool at this point. You know, you can see all the vegetables. You can see some of the calabaza still hasn't broken up completely, which is what I like. I like to be able to actually taste some of the calabaza as I'm chewing it, or eating, drinking. So we are done. We are done. Okay, so let's taste this and see what it is. It's first of all, it's nice and thick. The calabaza pieces are here. The ham. You can see some of the spices, the thyme. So it's all really good. So let's taste the sauce. The cooking sherry, the right touch. The thickness, consistency is perfect. So this is certainly something that you would love. This is the best squash soup I've ever had. I encourage you to try it out yourselves. You're going to enjoy it. Please hit like, subscribe, share it with friends, and remember to come back because we're continuously making some good stuff here. This is Marcelino, your Dr. Flavor, signing off.